Hello, welcome to Tuesday Nights with Dr. Bruce. So you're looking more and more like me every day. You got the...
Yeah, I got the beard going now.
It's not a good look.
Except I didn't shave this morning, and that's what happened.
Is that what it is?
No.
This covers a whole lot of ugly, I realize, on me. So I don't know that you need it, but I kind of do. Welcome. How you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
I'm Jeremiah, by the way.
That's Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I'm Dr. Bruce. I'm your host. But, you know, those of you that have been following me follow along a lot with the stem cell stuff and research that's been going on out there. And recently what hits my inbox from one of you awesome people was that the Harvard Stem Cell Institute, which is hsci.harvard.edu, you'll see it down here below wherever it is we decide to put it. You'll put it there, I'm sure. He'll put it there. But that's what we're going to do, and it's the business of regenerative medicine. That's what it is, and Harvard just finished that. So I'm going to show you the business of regenerative medicine 2019 conference. That's what they just did, and they did it in August, I believe, August 6th, 2019. So a couple months ago, huh? Yeah. Well, I got a couple of big questions. I'm going to show a video here, and we're going to kind of go along and get some of my reactions to this video, but some of it's going to be fun because that's what I do, but some of it is actually really informative. And if you are looking at some of this, I just want to let you guys know that right now they have 1,000 Harvard, 1,000 scientists, researchers all over the globe, especially here in America and so forth. And then they've come out with 9 new therapies now that are approved. And 93 therapies right now are in stage 3, which is really close to coming into production, half of those having to do with cancer.
7 months. 7 months ago.
That's unbelievable. When was 7 months ago?
April.
Well, it says August, though. Oh, was it? I think it was
They
August.
said April. I was wrong.
I think it says August 6th, though.
I'm not good at math.
That I don't think you have. Well, you know what? Actually, it says here it goes. If you guys go out to that, you can see it. But it says this was posted on August 6th, evidently, because it was on the 15th and 16th of July. So it looks like we are both wrong. The rest of this will be right, though. Honestly, I mean, we got to do it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the video. You'll see it, and we'll kind of play along together. I'm pretty sure. I hope that we'll play along together. Yeah, so the first one was April 23rd,
This is
2004.
the birthday of the Harvard Stem Cell Institute. The singular mission is to use stem cells to
Do
move
we
from
need sound
basic
on this? They're
science
gonna
to
hear sound
clinical
anyway, right?
treatments.
Yeah, they hear
Why are
It'll
stem
overlap.
cells such an important object for our study?
Why are you so slow in delivering a very obvious message? I don't know. He's a great guy, I'm sure.
Important initiative for the university.
That's like a Baptist preacher.
Just a little bit. You know, it's all didactics, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the problem. You know, you wind up with these didactics, and the hardest part is it's me standing way up here talking way down there to you. You know, we do our Regen Ed stuff with the nurse practitioners. We're there with them. We're touching them. We're moving patients together. We're doing all of that information. And I really think that's the way to go, you know, or one-on-one where you can stop it and go back and look at something like this. I mean, obviously it makes sense.
There are 150 million people in the United States alone who suffer from diseases that are potentially amenable to treatment from stem cells.
Why the pauses? Huh? Does it take him that long for his brain to catch up or something?
I think it's emphasis.
I think maybe he needs some stem cells.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, do you think it's emphasis? I don't know, maybe I just talk too fast. I mean, obviously this is one of the smartest guys in the world, so you can't say anything about him, but I was sitting there going, it just seems that's a little bit slow.
Awkward.
But you know what, look at the camera work. Now, if you see the camera work on some of it, this was, I believe, 2004. So, you know, today, honestly, the camera that they use there and the video that they use is beaten by your Samsung or iPhone or whatever you got.
Yeah.
Google.
We do have this very broad area of expertise that is covered because we think it is essential for there to be a tremendous amount of dialogue among individuals with different perspectives, that cross-fertilization of ideas and expertise is essential for them to be able to move quickly forward.
You know what, I'd like to pause there for just a second. You know who the early adopters are for all of this stuff? Honestly, it's chiropractors. If you talk to any of the vendors out there that create stem cells, exosomes, PRP, they all look to us. They're like, well, you know, it's the chiropractors. That's who you're really selling to because you're the early adopters. Where's the cross-fertilization?
You just said it, but
He didn't ask me to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah.
Why wasn't I there?
Yeah.
You need to tell people, like, share, comment. That's really the biggest thing you can do for us here. But share this a little bit. Let's see if we can get Dr. Bruce in on one of their schedules. I'm going to try and contact him anyway. 12th annual Business of Regenerative Medicine seminar. 12th annual, and I was not invited. By the way, they talked about hosted by the Harvard Stem Cell Institute. There's a bunch of institutes that do this. Over 150 people, is that 151 or like 6,000? Over 150 people gathered. Why wasn't it 20,000? Have you seen what we're doing with stem cells and exosomes?
They said 150 million people have diseases that can be treated with stem cells.
So 1 out of 1,000,000 showed up
Yes.
for
That's
this seminar.
crazy small amount of people.
We might need to do a little better, don't you think? I'm teaching actually this December for the A4M conference, and right after the A4M, and that's the American Association of Anti-Aging Medicine in Las Vegas. And it's really interesting because we'll have some people probably from HSCI and from every other acronym you can possibly imagine out there at these conferences. But in all honesty, I think we need to come together a lot more. Cross-fertilization, they talk about that, but I would say invite your chiro, invite your physiatrist, or anybody doing aesthetics. I mean, they're doing incredible things that define lines and wrinkles that obviously you don't have, but I might.
We've seen that over at ANU with Dr. Kristen Watkins.
Terrific. Yeah, absolutely. She's done it on herself.
Yeah.
She looks good too. It's pretty impressive.
She's part of the teaching group.
Yep, she's part of Regen Ed, part of my teaching group there, definitely. Medical doctor. We're going to start doing that here. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, Bridge Integrative Medicine. We're actually looking at rolling out some of those aesthetics because it makes people happy. Part of what you do is think well.
Yeah.
You know, and if it makes people happy, hey, I look better, they might go, you know what else I should do?
Yep.
Something good for my body. How about that? I look better. They do hair and nails all the time, but nobody goes to the gym, right? I honestly wonder, you know, just a little bit there. Maybe I'm being a little snotty. I don't mean to be too snotty. It's because I do go to the gym. That's probably why.
We're trying to raise funds to allow us to establish core technologies that will revolutionize work in the field. We're going to establish some new training and education programs. We hope to have funds to support innovative new projects, in particular in areas where there's not the possibility for federal support.
Guess what? Did you see that? $2.5 billion raised through venture capitalists and so forth in this quarter alone. Remember, they started from humble beginnings, 2004, but it's no longer humble. It really isn't. It's defining and creating value was the theme of this conference, right? Addressing the tension between curing people on one hand and an unprepared healthcare market on the other. And that is a very difficult thing because you've got people out there that are saying, oh yeah, we can cure fallen hair and fallen arches. And guys, if I could cure fallen hair, you know, we'd be doing. The difference is, though, they've said forever, you can't grow hair on skin, and they're proving that you actually can if the hair grew there to begin with. So,
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, defining and creating value. I honestly think it's going to be defining and creating values today. I really do believe that it's totally different. And by the way, the ARM was there, the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine. She was there. Janet Lambert, brilliant. She's the CEO of that one, too.
Our goal is to really take advantage of what has been a half century of development in genetics and now take that into the next step of organization and the true building block of life, of cells.
That for the first time,
Pause.
the federal government has withdrawn from funding.
It's every 2 words.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to say 2 words at once.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you
It's
won't
crazy.
remember them because the federal government, from funding, this poor guy, I hope he's not really mad at me. He's actually probably way smarter than I am. I would like to present for him, though.
So central a scientific area
Oh, you got a bunch.
poses, I believe,
Only 1, only 2,
great
2,
ethical obligation
2.
on the very, very small number of institutions within our country
I don't
that
know.
have the capacity to fill that gap.
So I like this guy, and honestly, what he's doing is really important. I think he has to slow it down because he's the overarching guy,
You
right?
don't have to slow down anymore. Jesus, speed it up a little bit.
Right. Yeah. What was it on Good Morning Vietnam? I said they should record that and play it back for insomniacs that don't respond to hard drugs.
Yes.
But I'm telling you, that was the hardest part for me when I was learning something, is that my brain moves very quickly and then not at all, and then very quickly and then not at all. If I'm moving, I catch a little bit more, right? I think that's the real problem. But I got to tell you, regenerative medicine heads into the clinic. So now The ARM, the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine, is giving an overview of the recent therapeutic approvals. There are 60,000 people right now in clinical trials or getting ready to be in clinical trials. Remember, we have our own that's starting here very soon. And there are near-term approvals for gene and cell-based immuno-oncology, cell and tissue-based therapies. So they're already looking at it. It's already moving forward a lot. And then she said, here's the problem. We're not talking about an incremental change, and that's scary. You can't go from 0 to 1,000 without causing a lot of whiplash.
Yeah.
I guess you can in a Tesla. Are you allowed to do that in a Tesla?
Not yet.
They go fast.
Not yet.
0 to 60 in like 1.9 seconds.
Yeah.
That's, but you know, it's moving like the speed of your cell phone.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's part of the problem. Honestly, I really do. And I mean, you're the one that gets out there and talks about these things. What do you see as the resistance to stem cells out there? Do you see in the public, what do you see out there?
It's interesting because you still get people that ask, do you use babies? Like, no. Like, that's been
Like,
illegal for a
always
long time. Yeah.
in America.
It's just interesting to see the if I can say it, the ignorance of Americans a lot of times.
Yeah, I don't know.
I love when you go up there and you talk about how, what percent of the world are we? And you finally get them to admit we're 4%.
Yeah.
And then you say, if we didn't exist, the world would still get an A. Like, that's very different.
Yeah, they
We
don't actually
think that
look
way.
at the world, do they?
No,
Yeah,
no.
It's nice that Harvard is doing this, and they
Yeah.
do have people all over the world. I know that I work with some of the other vendors for these stem cell things, and they have people all over the world. And I haven't had my first out of the country gig yet. I'm looking
Working
forward
on
to
it.
that. Yeah,
We're
next
working
year.
on it.
They're
Yeah,
already,
we're working on
they're
it.
already doing that. So
Yeah.
next year I get my and basically what they want to know is really how to set up the departments, how to have the departments inside a clinic work and talk to each other. And then we have such a refined skill here as it leads to the next elite result. But we also make people work, and they kind of liked that. They like the fact that we make people work.
Can I make a point for you real quick?
Do
So
it.
you said in there that this was the capstone of the last half century of research
Yeah.
that they're going to move into, which you saw how fast it moved. And we started with like the iPhone version -1 back in
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
long, I mean,
Yeah.
long time. And now we're up to iPhone version 10X. And I mean, we're already looking at what does the iPhone version 20 look at for this type of technology. But the next 50 years is going to move so much faster than the last 50 have. And that's where you get that clinical promise the FDA's talked about, all sorts of things that are in there. So,
Yeah, and that's exactly what we're looking at. There's a lot of clinical promise that's out there. In other words, the problem is with a lot of these stem cell things and exosomes things is that it worked once.
yeah.
But we don't know exactly why it worked that once. And then it works mostly from then on, but it doesn't work like it did the first time. I mean, we had someone where we did regenerative medicine on, and they would stand there in front of you and tell you their story, and you wouldn't believe it. You just wouldn't believe it. Somebody. We have lots of somebodies. And you wouldn't believe it. And honestly, it's because it's unbelievable, but the results were there. They were just a truth, and that's an amazing thing, So the hard part, though, is can you replicate it? I'm a scientist, so you got to have a theory. First, you get a hypothesis, and you get a theory, which means it's a working hypothesis. It's already worked at least once, and then you find out a way where you can make it a science fact somehow. And we're still working at that. 93 of these clinical trials are in stage 3. There are 8 approved therapies right now. 8 recently approved therapeutics. But much work to be done on access and reimbursement. What's interesting is that as a chiropractor in this field, we get marginalized a little bit. That's fine. As a businessman in this field, I get asked to come speak. The interesting thing is, though, everybody in the field believes that access to this stuff is being pushed behind the 8 ball, where you can go to other countries and it's there. And financing and so forth, whether or not governments should pay for it or help us live longer and better lives. Yeah, it's been a challenge. And they've got all kinds of cool stuff. Regenerative medicine is now looking very strongly at diabetes and what it can do to create an environment where the diabetic patient, it's a very specific variety, heals from that. Man, I mean, heals, not, we're going to manage it with insulin. We're actually going to fix this for you. A lot of it having to do with lowering toxicity and changing your diet too, but that's the other thing. And I want to just read this quote. The faculty member, Mark Fishman, for HSCI, brilliant person, by the way, There is no field that promises more to help people than regenerative medicine. Boy, he could have dropped the mic and walked off. But we should use a different structure from the one that we're using. I believe the way to drive it forward is to put biotechnology companies, translational medicine, and discovery biologists maybe. I like biologists better. I'm going to go with that one. Under one roof. I've never heard of I've heard of it translational medicine. Discovery biologists. That's just a researcher, right?
Yeah,
That creates
researcher.
ideas? I don't know.
think so.
I don't know. Anyway. But what they're wanting to do is create this really strong link between laboratories and hospitals and then clinical trials, and they're wanting to put that under one roof, and I hope they get it done. It's not yet done out there. Believe me, that's the thing that I've been working for a long time. But pretty cool video, nice short little thing, no big deal. But I kind of wanted to do one of these so that people understand. You can go out there and look at it, and I suggest that you do. You go to HSCI. .edu, and I think that's a really good idea to see that, because Harvard Stem Cell Institute, you're going to get to keep up. Started 15 years ago. How many people learned about it, right?
Yeah.
Did you know about it 15 years ago? Comment below if you ever had heard of this before the last 5 years. And a lot of it's negative, but $2.5 billion this quarter pushing this research forward. Google doubled down. Everybody is. They're unbelievable what they want to do with these stem cell stuff. So it's the right thing, And then exosomes, and then PRP, which is kind of a very easy beginning, and we're having amazing results with all of that stuff here at Bridge. So if you have comments, you have questions, please like, share, and comment. Sharing this thing actually does the most for us. So please, that's all I can ask, is just share if it means something to you. And we're going to keep doing some of these. I think these are extremely vital for what's going on in the future. So that's it with Tuesday Nights with Dr. Bruce. And as I always say, be an example of what's possible.